How often have you gone to the movies with high expectations only to be let down? On the other hand, you might end up being pleasantly surprised when you go into the theater with low expectations. Well, this past weekend, I had a rather unique experience. After a 2-hour drive to Lincoln, Nebraska, I finally found a rare movie theater showing the film Nefarious. Nefarious is based on the 2016 novel A Nefarious Plot by Steve Dace, and it stars Sean Patrick Flanery of Boondock Saints fame and Jordan Belfi. I'd heard many glowing reviews of this low-budget movie and walked into the theater with high hopes. But my high expectations were shattered, as this so-called horror movie about demon possession exceeded them by far. Look, I was on the edge of my seat through the entire movie, and I was hanging on every word. Now, the vast majority of this movie takes place in one room. And on the day of his scheduled execution, Edward Wayne Brady, a convicted serial killer in Oklahoma, undergoes a final psychiatric evaluation by Dr. James Martin, who happens to be an atheist. And Martin is trying to determine if he can legally be executed or not. Well, during the evaluation, this prisoner claims to be a demon. Now, is this just a clever ploy to make people think he's insane so that he can avoid execution, or is there something else going on here? Whatever the case might be, this man's life or death depends upon Dr. Martin's expertise and his findings. The acting from the two co-stars was impeccable. Sean Patrick Flanery's performance was so mesmerizing. I actually worry about this actor's mental state after brilliantly playing this role. The script and dialogue were awesome, first rate. And look, as a professional theologian, I give this movie a perfect score, 2 thumbs up for theological accuracy. Although some Calvinists might differ, I was ecstatic when the characters discussed the significance and importance of God giving humanity free will, or what we would describe as libertarian freedom. Indeed, if one were familiar with my book, Human Freedom, Divine Knowledge, and Mere Molinism, or they've viewed my many videos on this topic on my YouTube channel, one might assume that I was behind the scenes coaching the actors through their dialogue. Well, if that were the case, I wouldn't change anything. On top of that, after watching this movie, no one on either side of the pro-choice versus pro-life debate will ever view abortion the same way again. Well, in short, not only did this movie meet my high expectations, but it greatly surpassed them and has become one of my all-time favorite movies. It's been dubbed a horror movie, but it stands alone as a masterpiece in its own genre. This is not your traditional horror film. I mean, I, for one, do not enjoy the proverbial horror movie. But although many are describing Nefarious as a horror flick, it's more aptly labeled a theological thriller that will leave the viewer thinking about the story for days, if not much longer. I don't know how else to describe it other than a film that must be seen and studied. It's both enjoyable and extremely informative. It might just be the most important movie ever made. I can't wait to see it again and again and again. So do whatever it takes to see this movie in the theater. And in the meantime, stay reasonable.